I never wanted to be a copy of anyone. I wanted to be myself, raw, pure, real. When I was young, I realized something very few understand. The greatest battle you will ever fight is the one within. People see the kicks, the punches, the speed, but what they don't see is the silence before the storm, the hours alone in the studio, the endless repetitions, the way I tore down everything I was taught so I could discover who I truly am. I don't train to look strong. I train to become strong, not just in body, but in mind and spirit. Strength without clarity is just chaos. I wanted to master both. When I step into training, it is not about beating another man. It's about conquering the limits inside myself. Every punch, every kick, every breath is a meditation, a reminder that discipline is freedom. I never followed a fixed path, because the moment you follow a pattern, you become trapped. I wanted to move like water, formless, shapeless, unstoppable. Water never resists. It flows. And if you put it in a cup, it becomes the cup. If you put it in a bottle, it becomes the bottle. Water can flow. Water can crash. Be water, my friend. When I say that, I'm not giving advice. I'm telling you my truth. I became water. I trained my body to flow, my mind to adapt, my soul to remain still in the storm. People wanted me to fit into their molds. A Chinese actor must act this way. A martial artist must fight that way. I smiled and broke the mold because no one defines me. I define myself. I trained with fire in my chest. Every drop of sweat was a message to the universe. I will not bend to the world. The world will bend to me. Pain never frightened me. Pain was my teacher. I broke bones. I bled. I fell. But every scar carved a lesson into my soul. I learned that pain is not your enemy. Your fear of pain is. I didn't want to imitate styles. I wanted to transcend them. That's why I created my own way, Jeet Kune Do. No pattern, no rigid form, only honest expression. I told myself every day, absorb what is useful, discard what is not, add what is uniquely your own. This became my code. My art was not a collection of techniques. It was my soul in motion. When I moved, I didn't think. Thinking is too slow. I flowed instinctively, because a warrior who hesitates is already defeated. I trained relentlessly, morning, night, over and over again, until speed became silence, until technique disappeared, until only truth remained. People thought I was fighting others. No, I was fighting my own ego, my own limitations, the noise in my head. Martial arts is not about defeating others. It is about defeating yourself. The weak you, the fearful you, the lazy you. You don't overcome the world until you overcome the mirror. When I said be like water, I meant don't resist life. Adapt to it. Flow through it. And when life strikes, strike back with precision. Every time I trained, I emptied my cup, because you cannot learn if your cup is full of pride. Humility is strength. Ego is weakness. I loved simplicity. In combat and in life, the highest technique is to have no technique. The highest style is to have no style, because truth is simple. It doesn't need decoration. It doesn't need permission. I lived with intensity. When I punched, it was not just my hand. It was my heart, my will, my spirit. Every strike carried my entire being. I rejected the idea of limits. Don't tell me how far I can go. Don't tell me what I cannot do. I will show you what happens when a man refuses to accept boundaries. I was never afraid to be alone, because solitude sharpens the warrior. I trained in silence. I moved in silence. I grew in silence. The crowd came later, but the fire was forged in the quiet. The body follows the mind, and the mind follows the spirit. If your spirit is weak, your mind will waver. If your mind wavers, your body will fail. That's why I trained the spirit first. I looked at fear in the eyes and said, you don't own me. I looked at doubt and said, you're not welcome here, because fear killed more dreams than failure ever will. The warrior is not the one who fights with anger. The warrior fights with clarity, with calm. The calmer you are, the more dangerous you become. People ask me how I became fast. Speed is not just in the body. Speed is the absence of hesitation. When you stop doubting and start moving like lightning, I respected all styles. But I belong to none. Because the moment you belong to something fixed, you lose the power to grow. I didn't train to be a star. I trained to be free. Free from fear. Free from expectations. Free from the prison of imitation. In combat, I was ruthless. Because in battle, hesitation is death. But my ruthlessness was not hatred. It was precision. I always believed the successful warrior is the average man with laser-like focus. Not the most talented, not the strongest, but the most focused. When the spotlight came, I was already ready, because I never trained for the spotlight. I trained for the standard I set for myself, the only opponent who mattered. People see the movies. They see the fight scenes. They don't see the hours I spent alone, kicking the same bag 1,000 times, drilling the same punch until it disappeared into instinct. They don't see the pain I endured to make movement look effortless. I wasn't chasing perfection. I was chasing truth. Truth in movement. Truth in expression. Truth in self. When I step on the mat, I bring everything with me. My discipline, my pain, my will, my silence. That's why I was dangerous. I never needed to yell. I never needed to boast. My work spoke louder than any words. I knew my time here would be short, but I never feared death. I feared not living fully. So I lived every moment with fire in my soul and steel in my spirit. I am Bruce Lee. I am water. I am the warrior who refused to be caged. The man who chose truth over tradition, freedom over fear, movement over words. I didn't come to fit in. I came to break barriers. I came to show the world what happens when a man embraces his essence completely. When I punch, I don't punch with a fist. I punch with intention, with everything that I am. That's why it lands. My legacy is not just martial arts. It's mindset. It's the art of living with focus, with grace, with power. When I said be water, I wasn't teaching you how to fight. I was teaching you how to live, to adapt, to flow, to never be trapped by what others think you must be. I am not a legend because I won fights. I am a legend because I knew myself. I stripped away everything false until only the real remained. I lived free. I moved free. I was free. So when they speak my name, let them not remember just the man who fought, but the man who became. I am Bruce Lee. I am water. I am the storm and the calm. I am the mirror that reflects your own strength back at you. This is my truth. This is my war. This is my way.